shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment. Did you capture it? Just let it slip. Yo.
Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Vose, Profits Unlimited, with your show Profit Time here on Monday morning. Man, hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm great to be here in the chair live, coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky. We got a great day underway here. Hope you got a great day underway where you're at today. You know, it's always nice when Mondays can get off to a good start. You know, weather-wise, equipment-wise, everybody out just doing their thing, getting out, and it was one of those good starts today. And yes, indeedy. You know, sometimes we never know how the weather's going to be. You know, man, it's just, and when you have to start off behind, it's just not any fun. Just not any fun, to say the least. So, with that being said, we're going to have a great day today. We got a great show planned, and we're going to talk a lot about mowing. We're going to talk about perceived value. We're going to talk about how being just a few dollars off on any bid, whether it's mowing or spraying or landscaping, whatever it might be, how that just dramatically impacts your bottom line. And I mean, I know you guys know that, but we're just going to break it down a little bit simpler today. And when it comes to perceived value, I've got a quick story that I'm going to share with you today. Good friend of mine, man. I've known him, Benny Briscoe, for, I don't know how long I've known Ben. All my adult life, all my commercial life almost, I think, for sure. As far as in the lawn and landscaping business, but or it seems like it, in a good way. But something he sent me over the weekend on Facebook about perceived value. And it's kind of neat that because Ben, I know you guys don't know him, and I'm actually going to have him on my show here one day here coming up soon. He's just got so much knowledge to share with all of us from a sales perspective, and how smooth and good he is and at what he does. And I honestly mean this when I say that, you know, I hate it to see him retire, because when he did, and when I say retired, he's probably only working 40 hours a week now. But I used to love when he was still selling us equipment. And for a long time, he didn't even sell us equipment, and he stopped by. But I always learned something from him. And when he sent me this thing on Facebook the other day, I thought, another learning opportunity from Benny Briscoe. You know, and it was something on perceived value. And I'm going to share that story with everybody here in a little bit. So, but anyway, with that being said, Benny, if you're listening to me, man, I appreciate everything you've done for me, and in the past, and certainly, you know, in the future. The learning opportunities. There we go. That's a big word, man. Get out there. So, but as we try to get those learning opportunities in every day, because as Benny used to always say, man, you know, you got to win every day. That's the goal. You got to win every day. And if you don't win today, hey, man, that's okay. We'll get out and we'll knock it out tomorrow. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So anyways, what'd you do fun over the weekend? Hope you had a chance to dial in something for yourself for a change. You know, we talk about the value of that free time and how it makes your company so much better when you get an opportunity to take some free time. You know, because too many times we don't spend enough time on ourselves or our families. It's all about work. So, I don't know. If you did anything fun this weekend, shoot me a text. Let me know. Let me know how your weekend went, what you did fun. And, hey, maybe it was just doing nothing. Sometimes that's fun. I had a pretty good old weekend. Went Saturday morning, actually, and watched Holly do a little coaching. She's coaching a travel softball team, and that was fun, to say the least. It was different going to watch her coach versus going to watch her play. like I did when she was in high school and whatnot. It's kind of hard to sit back and be quiet. You guys know what I'm talking about from that standpoint, if ever you were involved in any coaching or heck, just even as a parent, but when they're out there coaching, you certainly got to sit back and shut up. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that's pretty hard to do for some of us, especially me. But she did a good job. They did pretty well. So anyways, that was the excitement for my weekend, other than just fooling around a little bit with family members. And that's always cool. Went out and had a little bite to eat and whatnot. So it was really a laid-back weekend. And, sometimes those are the best things when you're not running around doing 187,000 things. So if you did anything, whatever you did this weekend, share it with me. 502-550-8307. 502-550-8307. Share what you did this weekend. I know hopefully this morning you had a chance to listen to my buddy Hecapus and Daniel on the pump station. And then, we got more coming. Mondays we got, got a little thing going on in my throat this morning. I apologize for that. Got the Jose Rowland show coming on at 1 p.m. on Mondays. So, and I'm sure he's going to have a great show planned as well. So, but man, it's Derby week here in Louisville. And as crazy as this week is, last year it wasn't too crazy with COVID and all. And we got a few little things going on this year. It's still not back to normal, but the craziness in the landscape world push is still there. And I like to see Derby come and go just from that perspective with our business, because that's the big push date. Everybody wants, hey, I need this done by Derby. I need this done by Derby. And that's been perpetuated for us here because so many more people are staying home. And it's, oh, man, I got some people coming over. Can you please get to me kind of thing? And you guys know how that goes. I mean, you try to do as many as you can do. And, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a one-truck operation or a 1,000-truck operation. You can only do so much. I mean, you can't do everything for everybody. And sometimes that becomes a little bit problematic, as you guys know. I ain't telling you anything you didn't know on that side of it. But, we can only do what we can do. And I guess that kind of goes back to Benny Briscoe talking a little bit about perceived value and how honest you are with your customers. When they call you up and say, hey, I got this coming. Can you get it done by this date? How do you handle that? Different people handle it different ways. But anyways, we just always try to work on the truthful way here at Wayne's Lawn Service. I've found in all my years of business that, hey, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a memory. Just that simple. Tell the truth. You don't have to have a memory. Hey, if you're liking what you're hearing here on my Profit Time show, I'd appreciate it if you haven't had an opportunity yet to download my show on your podcast, wherever you like to get your podcast. Just simply type in Profit Time, and you can hear any shows that we've had here on Turf's Up Radio, as well as our Profits Unlimited right there is there as well. So, and that goes not just for me, but everybody here on Turf's Up Radio. Whether it's Hecapus with the morning show or the nightcap or whoever it is, the pump station. There's a lot of different shows during the week. The Three Wise Guys, that, just, hey, you can't always listen live, but you always got time to listen, with your headphones on sometimes, if you're out working or whatnot. So if you want to go back and listen to something that you missed that was live, simply go to turfsupradio.com. All of our shows are listed there, and pick your favorite person out. Hopefully it's me. Still trying to catch my buddy Hecapus. So I need your help. Need your help, guys. Help me get there, because, as old Benny Briscoe says, man, if you got to try to win every day, and I need your help to win this. So when I say, actually, I want us all to do well, and I want you to do well specifically, because there's nothing fun about killing yourself in your business and not doing well. When I mean doing well, obviously from a profitability standpoint, but there's so many other things that you can do well that'll help with the profitability of your company. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. We're going to take a short break here. Turf Time is 10:10 a.m., and we'll be right back.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
Playing the best music.
Hands down and dirty. Turf's Up Radio.
Turf's Up Radio.
Turf's Up Radio. Turf's Up Radio. Turf's Up Radio. Turf's Up.
Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Absolutely. Your industry, your station. Brooke Ford's got a short message for us here.
Attention all veterans. Have you heard about Turf's Up Radio's Jobs for Vets program? If you are looking for a job and you're interested in working in the landscape and snow removal profession, there just might be a company in your local area that is looking to hire. All you have to do is send us your resume at jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. That's jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Absolutely. Any of you veterans in the Louisville, Kentucky area looking for work, and not just work or not just a job, but somewhere to call home, give us a call here at Wayne's Lawn Service. Got a lot of opportunity here for you if you're interested.
Hey, Green Industry Pros, are you new to Turf's Up Radio and want to learn more? Then plug in your earphones and keep listening, because Turf's Up Radio invites you to listen while you work. Our 24/7 live radio platform keeps you up to date, bringing you new tips and interviews from pros like you who want to elevate and educate the green industry. Can't make it to industry shows or events? Don't worry, Turf's Up Radio will be there bringing you live coverage, getting you in on the action. So keep listening to Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Do you hear that? It's quiet. No sounds of anger, attempts to throw a phone or computer out the window, or annoyance trying to change your business to make it fit into a software program. Crew Control just works. It's easy to do your scheduling. You can be up and running in less than a day. It's got everything you need and nothing you don't. Give it a try for yourself with our 2-week free trial. crewcontrol.com. That's crewcontrol.com.
Absolutely. If you want to make your business just more efficient, check it out, crewcontrol.com. I mean, just scheduling and just the whole aspect of the little things within your business that are generally time consumers, check it out. Try that 2-week offer, crewcontrol.com.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
georipper.com. Check it out if you haven't had a chance to do it, guys. You guys that are doing landscape lighting or underground dog fencing, pop-up valves, PVC pipe, whatever you got going on, and you need a trench and you need it fast, check out the georipper.com. You just throw your shovels away. Shovels are okay. There's certain spots we need them, but there's a lot of times when we're resistant to change. And you know what? It's just hard. It's hard to get out of an old rut. It's kind of like teaching an old dog a new trick kind of thing. But I guarantee you guys, check out that Geo Ripper. Take a look at it. See how much more profitable it can help you be.
Aha!
Yeah!
Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., The Weekend Review.
The Weekend Review. The Weekend Review.
With all of your favorite Turf's Up Radio hosts, including Hecky.
Hi.
Jose, Roland, Daniel, I'll pump you up goals.
You are.
The wise guy, Steve Cohen.
He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say?
The green veteran,
Giddy up.
Holly. Let's get physical, Bowles. Wayne the Prophet, Bowles, and many more. Join us live as we unpack the week and share what you may have missed live on Turfs Up Radio. That's the Weekend Review, Saturdays at 9 to 10 a.m. right here on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Your industry, your station. That's right. We're here to help you elevate and educate. Just that simple. And, you know, I need you to help me elevate and educate my business. As always, let me know something you're doing within your company that I can implement within mine to help my company be more successful and more profitable. Because, I've learned that the more open-minded I am, the better my company's going to be. So I need your help. I don't mind sharing my knowledge with you guys, but I need you guys to share your knowledge with me so I can make my company different and better. Just that simple. I was looking at something on Facebook here this morning, and a guy talked about, man, it's their first day out mowing. First day out mowing. But before we get into that, thought we'd listen to a little BTO, showing my age here a little bit, but little You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. We'll come back and we're going to talk about that first day out mowing. All Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, I happened to get a few texts in while that song was going along. Appreciate you guys sending me your text in, wishing us a happy Derby week to get through Derby week and whatnot. And I got a real funny one from a guy just now, and it's awesome. It says, first day out mowing at the end of April. I hope he's a farmer getting his first cut of hay in. Oh, I was thinking that same thing when he said, but, different markets guys do start a little bit later, so I'm sure he's way up there somewhere up and gosh, where's he got to be? Probably northern Michigan, northern New York, somewhere northern Vermont, up Maine, maybe up that way. I'm like you. I can't imagine getting that first service in this late, but you know what? Hey, to each their own. If they, we talked a little bit about that the other day about sometimes we wait too long to start, and I'm not saying that gentleman's waiting too long to start, but hey, we can look at it a lot of different ways. But I appreciate y'all's input on that for sure. So keep the text rolling in. I appreciate that. And if any of you guys want to talk to me live on the radio, that's other than Darren Greener, because I don't want you to blow my show up for me, Darren. I love you, man, but, got a lot of things I want to cover today. But, no, you're always welcome to. You know that. But anyways, how many of you guys are fed up just a little bit with, say, Home Advisor, Angie's List, those type things? People that say they're there to help you gain accounts, but then they want to charge you a fortune for it. I don't know if you've heard what's going on here on Turf's Up Radio now. Something new that's been started. It's called Turf's Up Nation, and it's absolutely free service provided by Turf's Up Radio to all commercial contractors out there listening to Turf's Up Radio. So, and it's all about networking, right? I mean, whether you do landscaping, fert and weed, mowing, landscape lighting, we got all kinds of service-related industry people listening to us. Whatever it is, simply go to turfsupnation.com. It's turfsupnation.com, and you'll see a link there to create an account for your company. And basically what it's going to be is, once we get companies built up in there, what's going to happen is it's going to be a free lead and referral source for all of us to use. No charge, no application fee. You're not going to be charged, $20 for a lead or $50 for a lead or $10 for a lead. There's never going to be any cost at all for it. Check it out, guys. You've got nothing to lose. The list isn't being sold to somebody else. I guarantee you that. None of that's happening. It's strictly here on Turf's Up Radio. And simply go to turfsupnation.com to sign your company up. And it's going to be absolutely awesome. It is. It's really going to be an awesome thing for all of us to network with each other, share with each other, gain additional accounts. I mean, it's just a good thing to be doing. Good thing to be doing. So, again, I want to remind you today of our upcoming show we have with the Jose Rowland Show at 1 today. I'm sure he's got an awesome show planned. He does every Monday, and it's really neat. He's always got either a great interview going on or it's kind of like a hodgepodge of things. You never know what you're going to get. It's kind of like a box of chocolates, right? You never know for sure what you're going to grab, but it's always going to be good. Be sure to join him today at 1 and enjoy his show as much as you enjoy the rest of our shows here on Turf's Up Radio. So one thing I wanted to talk about was perceived value a little bit. And this is what I was talking to you guys about. Benny Briscoe sent me on Facebook, and he said, hey, Wayne, he said, I thought you'd appreciate this. If you've seen it, great. If you haven't, pass it along. And I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm kind of going to read it to you because I don't want to give you a bedtime story. Nobody wants that. Like, okay, here we go. Page 1, chapter 1 kind of thing. And we've all been through this. But I think it's that important that we understand as business owners and operators and managers and just people that want to be successful, that we got to really understand why it's important to sell our services based on perceived value and not cost. Because, we're all of us are right in the middle of firing up a new year right now. Some of us have been going at it for a few weeks or a month or 4 or 5 weeks. Some of us are just getting going a week or two in or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's never too soon or it's never too late to think more about your company. And I think when we think about our company, we got to think about what are we doing to create perceived value. And this thing that Benny had sent me was about somebody that was getting a deck built. And, it was one of those friend of a friend things, and they wanted to get a deck built. And so the contractor comes up with the price, and it's like, okay, it's going to be $4,500 to get your deck built. Now, what do you think the consumer or the client's response was? What do we hear a lot when we throw a number out there? Whether it's a dartboard number, as I call it, or a good number based on knowing your cost per hour of operation. But what do we hear sometimes? Don't we hear sometimes where they say, man, that's kind of high. That's kind of high. And this story goes on to say, okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you think is a reasonable price for this job? I've never went down that road before, although I've wanted to. But in this story, it's pretty interesting, and I might actually do that sometime because I'm not going to change my price. But in the mindset of the consumer, I'd like to know sometimes, man, what do you think's fair? I mean, obviously you don't know our business. I'm not going to price my job based on what you think's fair. But that's how they're justifying it in their mind that the price is too high. So this guy says, okay, what do you think's fair? So the customer answers, I don't know, about $2,500. So, okay, I invite you to do it yourself then. Well, I don't know how to, is the response, right? I mean, think of our industry. Whether you're building a deck or doing a landscape, they don't have the knowledge that we have and you have to get that job done that way. So the customer says, I don't know. I think $2,500 is fair. He says, the contractor says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for $2,500. But I'm going to teach you how to do it so you can learn some valuable skills about our industry. And the customer says, okay, that's cool. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. So the contractor says, all right, first thing we got to do when we get started is we're going to need some tools. Here's what you're going to need. And he starts naming off a list of tools, right? All right. So, he's saying, well, you need a chop saw, table saw, drills, hammers, all this. And the consumer's like, well, man, I don't have any of those tools. And the guy says, don't worry about it. I'm going to rent you my tools. They're like, okay, cool, man. $300, I'm going to rent you my tools. We're going to get this project done. So customer's thinking, well, that's fair. I don't have to have the investment in the tools. He's going to rent them to me. I can get this done. Now, I know this seems like I can hear you thinking, Wayne, this is a long story to get to the end, but I think it's a valid story. Because this guy happens to be building a deck, but, what are you doing? Are you putting an irrigation system in? Are you putting landscape lighting in? Are you, do you have skid steers, lawnmowers? Name the equipment, right? Trucks, trailers. I mean, we got all the equipment. But the customer a lot of times doesn't think about that side of it, So contractor says, great, man. We got the equipment in line. Here's what we're going to do. Monday morning, we're going to start on the project. The customer's like, well, hold on, man. He says, I can't do that. I work Monday through Friday. I'm only available on the weekends to help you. He said, no. You want to learn from me. You're going to work on my terms. It's going to take us about 3 days to build this deck. And the guy's like, well, man, you mean I got to take 3 days off work? Or do I need to take 3 vacation days? I don't know if I really want to do that. And he's, well, that's what you're going to need to do. You know, because when you do the job for yourself, you got to think about unproductive factors. So in order for you to value this job or undervalue my job, and you can do it, well, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to take some time off work to get it done. He's like, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, here's the deal, man. At the bottom line is this. Doing the job from start to finish means we got to plan a project, we got to get our materials, we got travel time, we got setup time, we got disposal of waste. Isn't all this sounding familiar to like our landscape industry as well? I mean, think about it, guys. And this is where it's up to you. It's up to you as the owner or the manager or the salesperson for your company to create this perceived value. And he says, as a matter of fact, as we're talking about, getting these things together, he says, I'm going to meet you Monday morning at 6 a.m. at the lumber yard. And the guy's like, 6 a.m.? Hey, yeah, I'm not used to starting work till 8 or 9. He said, well, no, we're going to start on your deck probably around 8 or 9. He says, but what we got to do first is go get the material and get it to your home so we can do the work. So it's not just because we show up at 8 or 9. We've been an hour or two into it probably. You got to understand that's where part of the cost is coming from. And he says, I'm beginning to realize, this is the customer, that there's a whole lot more that goes into that job than just seeing the finished product. He said, your proposal of $4,500 really is pretty reasonable when I sit down and think about it like this. Absolutely it is. Are you thinking about all those things when you're pricing your job? That's the question. Are you thinking about all the little things? Because whether it's a physical project or a digital project you're doing, think about it like that. Let's say you're doing a design for somebody on your laptop with some software. Have you created perceived value for that? Because once you have a chance to explain to the customer that there's a whole lot more that goes into it than just the finished product that they see or that you've painted for them. And that's something my dad taught me a long time ago in selling, that a good salesperson creates perceived value. And a good salesperson is really an artist when it comes to selling landscapes and things like that, because we're selling a concept to somebody. Yeah, they can see pictures of shrubs, and you can see a picture of a deck, and you can see a picture of some landscape lighting. But what you're really painting for the customer is a concept. And the better you paint that concept and you create that perceived value, the more somebody's going to be willing to pay for it. But if you just price the job and send a proposal or call them with a number, that's all it is. It's just a number. But when you understand as the owner or the manager or the salesperson what you're really selling, and that list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, just a few things. I mean, quickly, just off the top of my head, I mean, what are we really selling? We got knowledge, experience, our skills, our years of experience. That reminds me of a funny little story I'll tell that most everybody's heard, but it jogged my memory on. But the time to prepare for the job, your work ethic, your professional proposal, you calling them back, all the little things, the insurance that it takes to do the job. So when you're sending that proposal to somebody, know that there's a whole lot more that goes into it than just the material, regardless of what the job is, whether it's a deck, whether it's a landscape, whether it's landscape lighting. It doesn't matter what it is. Too many times we just get hung up in the material. We undervalue our labor, and I mean that by not charging for the value of the skilled labor that you really are, and thus the perceived value is not created. And just because somebody says, man, that's a little high. That's a little high. That's too much. That's okay. If you've explained why your proposal is what your proposal is, and you've done your job to create perceived value, the next question is simply compared to what? Compared to what? And that's what you need to think about. What is your answer? Are you creating perceived value? And are you answering the question for the client, compared to what? Because here's one thing that I know for sure, and my dad beat this in my head, till he passed away, when we role play in selling. It was fun. We played all the time until he just passed away. On selling, I'd sell him something. Just playing around here in the office. And that's what everybody needs to do. You never know enough. You never know enough. If you want to win, and you want to win every day, it's a constant battle to improve your skills. But when it goes to creating perceived value, until you value yourself and your time, nobody else will. And that's the takeaway of this segment of Profit Time. We got to create perceived value. We got to believe and understand in what we're selling and know why it is different and better than what somebody else has to offer. But we also have to value yourself, your time, your business, and your profit margin. And until you do that, you're going to keep working hard and not smart. Turf Time is 10:38 a.m. We'll be right back.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world, no one rocks like Turf's Up Radio. Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey Turf's Up Radio fans, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's Turf's Up Radio time. Now you can hear the latest updates in green industry news, services and technology. Learn about new products all while enjoying the best music. If you don't believe me, then ask my good friend Alexa. Just say launch Turf's Up Radio.
Hey Turf's Up Radio fans, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's time for Turf's Up Radio. Now you can catch us streaming live 24/7 with pro talk, pro tips, and pro interviews. Simply visit turfsupradio.com.
You're listening to Turf's Up Radio, the only radio station of its kind dedicated to the green industry. Now you can even ask Alexa to tune you in when you're home.
Hey, this is Darren, your host of Raise the Mic here on Turf's Up Radio. Be sure not to miss a new episode every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. when I'll be raising the mic to another green industry professional like you. You'll hear how others got started in the business, how they've achieved success, and best of all, how you can learn from their experience. That's Raise the Mic every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And remember, Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey, Turf's Up Radio fans, keep missing industry events but want to stay up to date on the action? Then simply download the Road Fuel podcast by Turf's Up Radio on your mobile device. You'll hear everything you missed, including great interviews with showgoers and vendors keeping you in the know. That's the Road Fuel podcast by Turf's Up Radio, or simply visit turfsupradio.com/Road Fuel.
All right. Appreciate it. Got text during our break right there, and gentleman said, bingo, man. Bingo. It's just that easy. And it really is. As we come off that segment, I'm going to sit here and take a breath for a second. Let's listen to a little Eagles for a minute. Take it easy for a second. Let my blood pressure calm down.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me, 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just find a place to make your stand and take it easy. Well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, and such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say baby. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me. We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in. So take it easy. Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. Got a world of trouble on my mind. Looking for a lover who won't blow my cover. She's so hard to find. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me. Oh, we got it easy. We ought to take it easy.
Take it easy. All righty then. Appreciate a couple texts you guys sent me in over that segment, liking that perceived value side of that. And, I really do. I honest to God believe that, we as an industry, and it's any business, but I'm just going to talk about our industry right now. We as salespeople within our industry, we have really just got to understand that when we're out there driving everything and trying to drive our bus on price alone, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Now, you might get 27 different opinions from 27 different people, but I'm just telling you, in my 42 years of being in business, I've seen a lot of companies come and go that were great guys, great owners, great people, but they just didn't put a value, or they didn't put enough value on the services that they offered. And the reason that most of the time a person can't put the right value on their business, it goes back to the very basic fundamental in selling. The very basic fundamental of selling. You know, and I can sit here and say, hey, what's the most important thing in selling? Because I remember my dad asking me that. I never will forget it because he asked me that a million times to make sure I didn't let it slip out of my mind. It's like that song, don't let it slip away. If you had one chance, one opportunity, you going to take it or you just going to let it slip away? You know, if you guys remember one thing today from my show that's going to help your company be more successful and be more profitable, it's understand the most important thing in selling. It's not the relationship like a lot of people want to tell you. Relationships are great. They're important. They're la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Okay, fill in all the blanks and all the little sales training courses you've taken. But what it really boils down to is simply this. It's simply this. The most important thing in selling is you've got to sell yourself first. You've got to sell yourself first. And until you've done that, you're going to be what my dad used to call a cost salesman. In other words, you're out there selling on price. But you know what the problem with being a cost salesman is? There's no loyalty to the product line or the service line when you're a cost salesman. Because when you're going out there and you're trying to attract the client that's not looking for perceived value, that's exactly what you're going to attract. Somebody that doesn't respect perceived value and true value. You know, we sell perceived value until they say yes. It goes back to the sell is just the beginning of the relationship. It's the service after the sell that consummates the relationship and creates the loyalty. That's what I want the takeaway for today to be. Sell yourself first. And I don't want you to be out there saying, Wayne, you've lost your mind, man. Of course I believe in my own company. It's got nothing to do with believing in your own company. Of course you believe in your own company. But do you know why you're different and better than your competitor? Have you asked yourself recently or ever, or let me rephrase that. When's the last time you've asked yourself, what are you doing to create perceived value? Are you making a conscious effort on a daily basis to create perceived value for your company? And that's done in a million ways. It's done in a million ways. It's not a one-way thing. You know, perceived value is set up by looking professional, dressing professional, keeping your equipment clean, keeping your trucks clean, being able to explain why to the customer why you're not the cheapest, why you don't want to be the cheapest, and why they don't want the cheapest. That is what separates the winners from the losers. That's the side of the fence that you got to decide you want to be on. Don't be ashamed to charge a fair price and make a fair profit just because you're doing it different than your competitor. You know, that story a minute ago that I said I got my memory jogged about being paid for your knowledge and your experience and your expertise. A lot of you guys have heard this story, I'm sure, but if you haven't, it's a pretty good story. It's about this guy this cruise ship goes down out in the middle of the ocean, and they can't figure out what's wrong with it. So they fly this tech in to figure out what's wrong, why this motor won't go. And he looks at it and he says, "Give me a hammer." And so they give him a hammer, and he hits this spot on this motor, and it fires up and it's rolling, and the cruise ship is cruising on down the road. And the guy's like, I can't believe we paid that kind of money to fly somebody out here, and all they did was hit that spot with a hammer. He said, you didn't pay me to hit that spot on the hammer or hit that hammer on that specific spot. What you paid me for was to know what spot to hit. You paid for the knowledge. You paid for the skilled labor. What we need to do as a commercial mowing company and as a commercial landscape company, any type of service-related business, is simply raise the perceived value of ourself. And then the customer is willing to pay more for it. Just that simple. We make things a lot harder than they have to be. And as we wrap up today, I just want to touch on something that is a pet peeve of mine, and you guys have heard me say it. And this goes back to perceived value. I really believe that. It just popped in my mind. But for you guys out there that are doing bi-weekly mowing services, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want you guys to send me any hate mail, but if you want to, you can. But get rid of your bi-weekly mowing accounts this year and fill your slots up with weekly service. We're going to talk about that more on Wednesday. I've decided just now. Not the bi-weekly side, but why it's so much to your advantage to offer a weekly service and what that really means about your customers and what they'll spend and what they won't spend and how they will spend it. Because it all goes back into the psychic of the client, regardless if they're buying lawn mowing services or lawnmowers or skid steers or just people in general buying what they buy. People all buy, and I don't say always, very often, but the reality of it is people, me, you, anybody, we buy things for what we think we're going to get out of them. Think about that for a second. We all buy things for what we think we're going to get out of something. And the way we determine what we think we're going to get out of something is how well somebody painted that picture of perceived value. What are you doing to paint that picture of perceived value to somebody when they call you up and they're like, hey, I want to get a bi-weekly mowing. That's all I can afford. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know our phone gets blown up this time of the year with people wanting a bi-weekly mowing service. And for companies that understand their cost, I mean, there might be a few spots that make sense, okay? But during the growing season, when I say spots in anybody's market, okay, because we got a couple that we do some fields bi-weekly, okay? But something we're going to drill into more heavily on Wednesday is simply when the mowing frequency decreases, the price has to increase. And I'm just going to make a number up here. Let's just say you're charging $50 to mow a lawn. Well, if you go to $70 on a bi-weekly mow, you're not making enough. Go to $75, you're not making enough. If you double it, you might be close. But if you're not doubling it, guess what you're doing it for? You're doing it because it's fun. And I can tell you one thing about Wayne's Lawn Service, guys. I got tired of doing shit for fun. Nothing wrong with liking what you do, but you'll like it a whole lot more when you got a few dead presidents in the bank. When you're collecting those profit dollars that you deserve, and your competitors say, oh, well, they just overcharge people. If that's the way you feel, keep working hard, not smart, work 7 days a week, daylight to dark. Keep doing it. Put your business in that coffin. Because statistically, that's where you're going to end up. And the way you keep yourself out of that coffin, your business out of that coffin, is do what? That's exactly right. Create perceived value. And if you create perceived value and you know why you charge what you charge, and you believe it, your company's going to be much more successful. I just got a text in right now. You guys might have heard it ding. I ain't making this up. The guy just texted me, said I dropped 15 bi-weeklies, took on 7 weeklies, and I'm making more profit. Thanks. It is absolutely that simple. Because bi-weekly cuts becomes 17-day cuts, and then 17-day cuts because of rain or scheduling or whatever, it becomes an 18-day cut, and then you're doing it because it's fun. Hey, if you get tired of doing it because it's fun, you're going to change. And it goes back to the old thing about the pain of change. And that's simply, people don't change until the pain of staying the same is less than, people don't change until the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. You guys have probably heard me say that before. And I'll say it again. People don't change until the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. It really is that simple. Don't waste your time with those bi-weekly cuts. Service is what we sell. Perceived value is what we sell. The customers that a lot of times get us started are the same customers that unfortunately we have to cut loose when we decide we're going to run our business as a business. With that being said, guys, appreciate you listening to us today. I appreciate the text coming in today. Look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday. We're going to talk about pricing your job a little bit and how pricing and advertising your services, we got to think about the number we put on it. A little bit about perceived value probably brought in, but hey, perceived value is our story today. That's the takeaway for today. Know that we got to create that perceived value if we want to be able to charge the amount that it takes to show that we've got confidence in what we do as an industry and with our business. Remember, guys, profit is not a dirty word. I'll see you Wednesday.